Hey knitters, it's time to get started on the thumb gusset part of our mittens. So go ahead and grab your needles and you should have your 2x2 rib cuff that's 2 inches long so far. This week we're going to switch to stockinette stitch and work on building the hand and growing our thumb gusset so that it's wide enough to fit around our thumbs. To do that you're going to need 2 stitch markers to delineate where your gusset starts and ends. Grab your needles and let's get started. Alright knitters, so here we are. I have my 2x2 cuff ready to go. Very important note, I have already knit across the first and the second needle and am ready to knit onto the third needle. We have done this in stockinette stitch. From here on in we are knitting in stockinette stitch all the way around, so I knit, and when you're knitting in the round, stockinette stitch is knitting every stitch every round. So I've knit all the way across these two guys and I am ready to start on the third needle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit across 6 of the stitches. I'm going to add a stitch in the middle so that we have an odd number of stitches, and then I'm going to finish the round. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to add a stitch by doing a knit or make one right. So I'm picking up the bar between these 2 stitches from the back to the front, and then I'm going to stick my needle through the front part of that stitch and then just knit that. So I've added a stitch between these 2 stitches, and then we're going to finish the round. This is just going to give us a little bit more room in the hand than we have on the cuff. It's not increasing it by a lot, but by just enough. So that finishes the first round of the hand, and then we are going to start the second round of the hand. The instructions on the pattern say to knit 14 stitches, so we've still got 8 on the first needle and 8 on the second. So we'll knit across that real fast. So there's 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, so next we are going to add a stitch marker there. This is going to note the beginning of our thumb gusset, and then we are going to make one right. So we're going to add another stitch here. This is going to start the increases. Sometimes this thick yarn isn't very easy to work with when it's not. One of the reasons I like 100% wool yarn is it's so elastic. All right, so make one right, and then we're going to knit one, and then we are going to make one left. And to make one left, you pick up the bar from the front to the back, and then knit into the back of the stitch. And then we are going to place our second marker. So that is the start of our thumb gusset. We should have 3 stitches between our marker there, and we are going to knit until we have 9 stitches between these 2 markers. However, we are not going to increase every round. We are going to increase every 3rd round. So that means we're going to finish this round, and that's going to be our first round, and then we're going to knit 2 more rounds straight before we increase again. So I am going to go ahead and do that and show you guys what that looks like, and then we'll keep going until we get 9 stitches between here. Okay, so I have knit all the way around twice, and if you'll notice, we're increasing our gusset on the second needle, so I have knit back to the second needle just a couple of stitches before the first gusset, and if you look, you can see where we increased the first time. There's those 2 increases right there. And I've got 2 stitches between there and where we are. So what we're going to do is we're just going to repeat the same thing. We're going to make one right, and then we're going to knit to the other stitch marker, and then we're going to make one left. And the reason we're doing these increases in make one right, make one left is that so, as you can see, as the thumb goes, the stitches lean slightly to the right over here and slightly to the left over there. It just makes it really neat when it's framing your thumb. So we are going to do another 2 rounds. That'll get us to 7 stitches, or 7 stitches between the gusset when we increase the next time, and then knit another 2 rounds, and then on the 3rd round we'll do 2 more increases, and that'll get us to 9. Okay, so we are back. We're going to get ready to do the 3rd increase here, so you can see how the thumb gusset is taking shape after I knit another 2 rows between this one. So this is the 3rd row again, or the 3rd round since the last increase. You can see that triangle taking shape there. So we're gonna, that first stitch between the stitch marker and the first stitch of the thumb gusset, we're going to make 1 right. So pick up from behind, knit into that front part of the stitch, and then we'll knit across all of the rest of the 5 stitches and increase again. This time we're doing a make 1 left, so we're coming in from front to back, and then we're knitting into the back part of that stitch there. And there we go. Now we've got 7 gusset stitches. So 1 more time, knitters, 2 more rounds, and then on the 3rd round we'll come back and do 2 of the last 2 stitches. Okay, so we are back. We've got another 2 rows between the last increase and here. You can see that really nice defined triangle, nice and even. So we're going to add the last 2 increases. I'll show you guys how to do it one more time. We're going to pick up that bar there from front, or from back to front, for a make 1 right, and then knit into the front of that stitch, and then knit across all of the other stitches between the gusset. And then we're going to pick up this from front to back, knit into the back part of that stitch there, just like that. And then just finish off the row for good conscience. And then that's it. We have our thumb gusset. So next week I'm going to show you guys how to put the thumb gusset on waste yarn and then replace that 1 stitch that we used up between the initial start of the gusset, and then knit the hand. So next week you're going to need a yarn needle and a little bit of waste yarn, and then we'll just knit the hand up, and I'll show you how to get the perfect length for your hand. So I'll see you then. Thanks, guys.